Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I wish to thank the organizers and the sponsors, Squared Up, Select, NICE, Gridmatics, and OpsLogic, for once again inviting me to give a presentation in this awesome global virtual event. The topic I'm presenting is entitled Living in Harmony, Transitioning to a Healthy Monitoring Landscape with SCOM Agents and Azure Monitor Agents. Here's a little bit about me. My name is Wei Hao Lim. You can call me Wei. I'm a principal cloud solution architect based in Melbourne, Australia. I have been in Microsoft for over 10 years. I specialize in multi-cloud monitoring, security solutions, data visualization, and automation design, primarily leveraging Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Microsoft Sentinel, SCOM, Azure Monitor, and Azure Cost Management. I work with our enterprise customers to implement and demonstrate the value of our cloud monitoring and security services in Azure, engineering, removing technical blockers, drive success, and encourage further customer confidence and intent to use and consumption of these products and services. And it's such an honor to be here today to speak to you all on this topic that I'm very passionate about. The objective of this session is to talk about the different agents used by Azure Monitoring and Security Services, their functions, and most importantly, their future state and how it impacts SCOM environments with a hybrid or multi-homed agent setup. Then, we will look at an approach on how SCOM can add value to a smooth transition process when migrating from MMA, which is the legacy Microsoft monitoring agent, to the AMA, which is the new Azure Monitor agent for Azure Monitoring and Security Services. And furthermore, how SCOM can help to monitor the health of agents used by Azure Monitor and Security Services post-migration. Here's the agenda for today's session. The agenda is organized under the following topics. We will first do an overview of the different agents used by Azure Monitoring and Security Services and their future state. We will talk about the AMA or the Azure Monitor Agent migration process and discuss about its potential impact to SCOM or a SCOM environment. Then we will take a look at Kevin Holman's SCOM Management MP and how we can utilize this cool management pack to identify machines or computers monitored by the legacy Azure Log Analytics Agent or MMA through SCOM, and identify machines monitored by the Azure Monitoring Agents or AMA with SCOM as well. And lastly, we will discuss about how SCOM can help to monitor the health of the Azure Monitoring Agents and integral agents like the Azure Connected Machine Agent for Azure Arc. For this session, it would be handy to have some prior knowledge on the SCOM architecture, the core components of a management group, its data flow, using SCOM commandlets in PowerShell, familiarity with navigating the SCOM operations console, and the Azure Monitor Logs Analytics workspace, and also some experience in managing or implementing direct agents for Azure Monitor Logs. Azure Monitor is a monitoring solution for collecting, analyzing, and responding to telemetry from your cloud and on-premise environments. Azure Monitor collects and aggregates the data from every layer and component of your system into a common data platform. It routes monitoring data using a few different mechanisms, depending on the data being routed and the destination. The data can then be used for analysis and visualizations to help understand how your applications are performing and respond automatically to system events. Azure Monitor utilizes agents to collect monitoring data from the guest operating system of Azure, hybrid, or on-premise virtual machines and stores the data into a designated Log Analytics workspace. For virtual machines running on Windows, here is the list of agents commonly used by Azure Monitor to collect monitoring data. First is the Log Analytics agent for Windows, which is the Microsoft Monitoring Agent which has been the primary agent used for collecting and monitoring since Azure Monitor was generally available. And the dependency agent for Windows used for service map in Azure Monitor for VMs. The Azure Diagnostic extension, which is used to collect diagnostic data and persist data to Azure storage. And the new Azure Monitor agent, which is the new single agent managed as a Windows extension that will be replacing all legacy agents. More about this in the next few slides. The Log Analytics agent is primarily used to collect logs and performance data from Azure virtual machines or hybrid virtual machines hosted outside of Azure, like on-premise virtual machines, and to send the data collected to designated Log Analytics workspaces. It's used to monitor machines at scale, their processes and dependencies on other resources and external processes with Azure Monitor for VMs. And on the cybersecurity side, the Log Analytics agent is heavily utilized by Microsoft Defender for Cloud or Microsoft Sentinel for security event collection, detection, and management, and security-related solutions like Azure Update Management or change tracking. This slide lists out a few of the limitations of the Log Analytics and Diagnostic agent. The Log Analytics agent collection settings are set at its connected workspace only. Therefore, it's difficult to configure unique monitoring definitions and configuration for individual agents and send data to Azure Monitor Metrics, Azure Storage, or Azure Event Hubs. It's also difficult to manage at scale because each virtual machine has a unique configuration and multi-homing is only supported for Windows agents only. Here are two diagrams that show the current agent configuration for the Log Analytics agent and the Azure Diagnostics agent. On the left is Log Analytics. There is a limitation to configure unique monitoring definitions and scoping for individual or a group of agents. The data collection configuration can only be defined for the whole workspace, and then every single agent home to that workspace will collect the data configured in the workspace. On the right is the Azure Diagnostic agent. It's difficult to manage for a wide range of virtual machines because each virtual machine has a unique configuration on what to collect. So the Log Analytics agent is on a deprecation path and wouldn't be supported after the 31st of August 2024. It is highly recommended to migrate from the Log Analytics agent to the Azure Monitor agent prior to that date if you have an existing environment that utilizes the Log Analytics agent for Azure Monitor, Microsoft Sentinel, and Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Also, as a reminder, as of now, here is the latest version for the Log Analytics agent released in March 2022. Please make sure that your Log Analytics agents is at least at version 10.20.18053, which was released in October 2020, as it updates how the agent handles certificate changes to Azure services. What are the benefits of migrating to the Azure Monitor agent? The Azure Monitor agent also collects monitoring data from the guest operating system of Azure and hybrid virtual machines, and delivers it to Azure Monitor for use by features, insights, and other services such as Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft Defender for Cloud. However, by using this new agent, the benefits include cost reduction, simplified management, security and performance, and a single monitoring agent that replaces all the other legacy agents used by Azure Monitor and security solutions. Okay, just a note that for convenience, I will sometimes use the abbreviation AMA to refer to the Azure Monitor agent and MMA to refer to the legacy Log Analytics agent from now on. On the cost-saving side, the AMA now uses data collection rules for targeted data collection for a machine or groups of machines, therefore saving costs by not over-collecting and ingesting data from machines that are not required for a specific monitoring requirement. On the simplified management side, the AMA offers an easier installation experience, supporting multi-homing on Windows and Linux machines, and supports cross-region and cross-tenant data collection. Any change in configuration is rolled out to all agents automatically from the configuration service, and it also provides greater transparency and control of more capabilities and solutions, such as for Microsoft Sentinel, Defender for Cloud, and Virtual Machine Insights. Enhanced security is now provided through Managed Identity and Azure AD tokens for the AMA. And on the performance side, the AMA has higher event throughput that is 25% better than the legacy MMA agents. And as mentioned in the previous slide, the AMA replaces the Azure Monitor legacy monitoring agents as a single agent that serves all data collection needs across supported servers and client devices. From this slide on, we will discuss about migrating to AMA and how it would impact a SCOM environment with a hybrid or multi-home agent setup. Let's start first with the legacy MMA, which is the same agent used by System Center Operations Manager or SCOM. This agent can be multi-home to communicate with up to 4 SCOM management groups and also communicate to Azure Monitor Log Analytics simultaneously. As the MMA has been the primary monitoring agent for Azure Monitor for a very long time, in many hybrid environments with existing SCOM management groups, the MMA agent in the past would have at some stage been configured to communicate to SCOM and to Log Analytics workspaces, either using the SCOM integration with Azure Monitor method enabled via the SCOM console, or through direct agent configuration, which is to directly configure the MMA to connect to Log Analytics workspaces at scale using Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager or other automation tools. This diagram shows the connection between the management servers, the agents in a SCOM management group, and Azure Monitor, including the direction and ports, which is the integration method configured using the SCOM console. Once connection is established, the management server forwards the data directly to the Log Analytics service and never return to the operational or data warehouse database. This diagram shows the direct agent method where the MMA is explicitly configured to connect to an Azure Log Analytics workspace with or without being already connected or multi-home to a SCOM management group. Having covered the methods that hybrid environments with existing SCOM management groups may use to connect to different Azure Log Analytics workspaces with the MMA agents, let's take a look at how a typical AMA migration scenario would impact a SCOM environment with a hybrid or multi-home agent setup. Let's take a look at an example of a SCOM environment with a multi-home MMA agent setup as shown in the diagram on this slide. There are 2 virtual machines, both with the Microsoft monitoring agents reporting to the primary management server of their SCOM management group. Both agents are also connected directly to a Log Analytics workspace with Microsoft Defender for Cloud and Microsoft Sentinel enabled for threat detection and security event collection. The MMA agent running on virtual machine 1 also connects to another Log Analytics workspace with only VM Insights enabled to monitor its performance and availability. Virtual Machine 1 is an Azure resource hosted in Azure, and Virtual Machine 2 is on-premise. In this diagram, we see that the AMA or Azure Monitor agent has been installed on both of the virtual machines and have been configured to collect data for their designated Azure Log Analytics workspaces using data collection rules or DCRs. Running side by side with the existing legacy MM agents where we have an agent coexistence setup. This is a good way to test if there are gaps in the monitoring coverage and data collection between the two agents during the early part of the AMA migration. Since Virtual Machine 1 is an Azure resource, the AMA extension can be installed with Azure Policy or by just creating a DCL association for it. For the on-premise virtual machine, Virtual Machine 2, the installation of a separate Azure Arc agent is required in order to deploy the AMA extension. When this on-premise virtual machine is connected to Azure via Azure Arc, it becomes a connected machine and is treated as an Azure resource. And it has a resource ID, enabling the machine to be managed by the Azure Resource Manager. Running two telemetry agents on the same virtual machine consumes double the resources, including but not limited to CPU, memory, storage space, and network bandwidth. And moreover, additional and duplicate data is collected from the virtual machine where the two agents are running side by side. This may lead to additional ingestion charges from the log analytics workspaces involved. Hence, if there are no gaps in monitoring coverage and data collection found between these two agents running side by side for Azure Monitor and its related security services, the workspace configuration can then be removed for the legacy agents, or the legacy MMA agents could be disabled or uninstalled to reduce resource consumption on the monitored virtual machines and to save costs by not collecting additional data in order to complete the cleanup step in the AMA migration process. From this point of view, without having prior knowledge or lack of communication between teams in an organization on whether these legacy MMA agents are connected already to SCOM, there's a high possibility that the disable or uninstall option would be carried out in a hybrid environment. Of course, disabling or uninstalling the Microsoft monitoring agent will stop their data flow and their heartbeat from being sent to their primary SCOM management server, as seen here from virtual machine 1 and 2. The primary management server will detect that the Microsoft monitoring agent running in virtual machine 1 and 2 are not responding with their missing heartbeats and will raise a health service heartbeat failure alert and sometimes even raise a failed to connect to computer alert to notify that it has lost monitoring visibility to virtual machine 1 and 2. Imagine the size of the alert storm if this were to happen in a large hybrid environment of thousands of monitored virtual machines with integration to third-party ticketing systems. It would certainly increase the amount of administrative overhead to address these alerts and to fix the root cause. Plus, losing the Microsoft monitoring agent means that critical applications and services hosted on initially monitored servers will not be monitored anymore for BAU, for performance, for availability, or even for security by SCOM, where the agents were supposed to carry out the monitoring instructions specified in the management packs they received to monitor these critical applications and services. This could potentially lead to a breach in monitoring SLA, loss in business critical data, and even manifest into a security risks. Therefore, it is important that the outcome of the MMA to AMA migration in a hybrid environment with SCOM is like or similar to ones shown on this slide, where both AMA and the MMA, which is now the full SCOM agent, can coexist and are on the separate paths collecting and monitoring for their own monitoring services, with the legacy bits and dependencies removed and versions updated. Which is what we see here, where the SCOM agents are in a healthy state and now only communicates to their primary management server in SCOM, and the Azure Monitor agent communicates only to their designated Azure Log Analytics workspaces specified in the data collection rules. Let's now take a look at the high-level AMA migration steps and what tools we can use to give us insights of the current state, types, versions, and distribution of MMA, SCOM, or AMA agents in a hybrid environment and help us track the status of the agent migration journey. These insights can be utilized by the different teams involved in the AMA migration to proactively plan and effectively carry out the migration process to reduce the negative impact and risks to the hybrid production environment. From the Azure side, there is the AMA Migration Helper. It is a workbook-based Azure Monitor solution that provides a single pane of glass view to help you discover what to migrate and track progress as you move from Log Analytics Agent to Azure Monitor Agent. The helper supports multiple subscriptions and includes automatic migration recommendations based on your usage. Before beginning the AMA migration, the AMA Migration Helper can be utilized to provide an overview of the current monitoring setup of the hybrid environment, like how many workspaces, how many virtual machines, enabled virtual machines, and so on. It can also be used to discover solutions enabled on workspaces that use the legacy agents, including the per solution migration recommendations shown under Workspace Overview tab. The Azure Virtual Machine tab provides information on the monitoring agents running in the monitored virtual machines, their migration status, OS version, and whether a SCOM agent is detected in the virtual machines or not. This helps provide valuable insights in planning on how to approach the next step of the AMA migration to deploy the AMA extension and create DCL associations, whether to use a phase-out approach or whether to target test environments first, and so on. And when DCL associations are created and the AMA extension is deployed in the second step of the AMA migration, the Data Collection Rules tab and the Azure Virtual Machines tab of the AMA Migration Helper can help keep track of the DCLs created and how many virtual machines have been enabled with the AMA extension or in coexistence with the legacy MMA agents after the DCL associations are created. This slide shows the AMA extensions being deployed on the two virtual machines we showed previously and communicating with their designated Azure Log Analytics workspaces as defined in the DCL association created during the second step of the AMA migration. And for the remaining AMA steps, validate data flow and collection from the AMA, verify downstream dependencies like dashboards, alerts, and workbooks, and clean up or agent removal can be monitored and tracked with the AMA Migration Helper and visualized through its different tabs consisting of the overview and virtual machines related tabs. We have now looked at the AMA Migration Helper tool as a tool we can utilize to give us insights of the current agent state and agent distribution in a hybrid environment and help to track the status of the agent migration journey from the Azure side. Let's now take a look at a tool we can utilize from the SCOM side that complements the AMA Migration Helper tool and can play an important role in contributing to the success of each step in the AMA migration journey, which as shown here is the SCOM Management MP. Here's a quick introduction on the SCOM Management MP. This management pack is written by Kevin Holman and can be downloaded from his blog, kevinholman.com. This is a management pack that helps to ease the administrative burdens in SCOM. It provides a lot of handy discovered properties for the SCOM servers, agents, health service, and health service watchers within a SCOM management group. These useful discovery properties can be seen in the views included in the management pack. It also includes tasks and allows you to delegate administrative actions to your users. One of the discovered properties for the SCOM agents is the Log Analytics Workspace property. That is very useful and relevant in helping to track the status of the agent migration journey. Other useful discovered properties are agent version property and the Log Analytics proxy URL property, if the proxy URL is configured for the agent. These useful discovered properties can be seen in the SCOM agent view and detailed view under the SCOM management folder as soon as the management pack is imported into your SCOM environment. There are also script-based tasks included in this management pack to add or remove Azure Log Analytics workspaces for the SCOM agents and configure a proxy for direct internet or the OMS gateway. So let's now come back to the high-level AMA migration steps and how SCOM can play an important role in providing insights of the current agent state in a hybrid environment and help to track and even change the agent migration status from a different and complementary perspective from the AMA migration helper tool. How SCOM can help in the AMA migration journey. With the SCOM Management MP, SCOM can provide helpful information on the scale and current state of agents in the monitored landscape and report on agents having availability or health issues that may affect the AMA extension installation or the removal of workspace information from the legacy agents with health issues before beginning the AMA migration. The SCOM agent view of the SCOM Management MP also shows the SCOM agents currently multi-home to Azure Monitor logs workspaces and provide visibility on SCOM agent versions to help identify the ones running in 10.20 versions, which is the log analytics agent fork different from the SCOM main versions. If the AMA migration helper is not accessible from your Azure subscription, this information provided by the SCOM Management MP can help the SCOM administrator, monitoring team, server team, and other stakeholders understand how the AMA migration process could impact their SCOM environments and agent monitoring state, if not already, and to act on it proactively and estimate how much effort would be required to clean up the workspace information and reinstall the SCOM agents into their main and supported versions at the last phase of the AMA migration journey, as shown by the second red arrow on this slide. Furthermore, the SCOM Management MP can also help to address availability and security monitoring gaps from Azure Monitor and Azure Defender for Cloud by identifying critical non-Azure virtual machines that have been missing the Azure Log Analytics integration with the legacy agents compared to the monitoring state of their peers, and that they should be included in the AMA extension rollout to be secure and monitored going forward. With some simple code additions to the agent discovery rule in the SCOM Management MP, virtual machines with the AMA extension already installed can be identified, and whether there is agent coexistence between the AMA and an existing MMA agent still reporting to one or many Azure Log Analytics workspaces. This gives an idea of the progress of the AMA migration journey or how the migration process is currently impacting your SCOM environment. And with some more simple code additions to the agent discovery rule in the SCOM Management MP, virtual machines that are enabled with Azure Arc can also be identified with the discovery of the connected machine Windows service running in the targeted virtual machines. How SCOM can help post-AMA migration. As the AMA migration journey comes to its final stages of post-migration, SCOM can report on SCOM monitored VMs having availability or health issues that could affect the normal functions of the AMA extension. And list SCOM agents still connected to Azure Monitor Log Analytics workspaces that are potentially contributing to double ingestion and should be disconnected if the AMA extension is already in place. And as mentioned earlier, SCOM can also list the existing legacy MMA agents running in 10.20 versions that should be actioned to be reinstalled with the main SCOM versions. These action items could potentially be handled by SCOM with its on-demand tasks to clean up the environment and the agents post-AMA migration. And coming back to this diagram, my thoughts are that with SCOM playing an important role in the AMA migration journey, it would positively impact and contribute to the success of the AMA migration outcome, as shown on this diagram, where both AMA and the SCOM agents can now happily coexist and in healthy state and are on their separate paths, collecting and monitoring for their own monitoring and related security services. And to that point, since the SCOM agents and the Azure Monitor agents are now separate telemetry agents reporting and collecting for, you can say, unrelated monitoring services or products, which is SCOM and Azure Monitor or Microsoft Defender for Cloud or Microsoft Sentinel, it gets a lot easier for SCOM to be extended to monitor the health, performance, availability, and functionality of the Azure Monitor agent, as shown in this diagram. Also, the health state of Azure Arc services, where applicable, could also be monitored by SCOM as well. This was previously a very difficult task when all these monitoring and security services or products share the same agent, which is like putting all the eggs in one basket. And it was also hard to instrument an effective agent cell monitoring mechanism from the different solutions. But with separate agents, a SCOM management pack can be written for the targeted SCOM agents to programmatically query the health state, performance, and logs of the running processes of the Azure Monitor agents extension and the connected machine service for Azure Arc, and report the health states or generate alerts leveraging the full SCOM monitoring experience. Hopefully, this is something that the product groups are looking to leverage as well, so that a management pack can be written for this monitoring scenario in future. Now, I would like to demonstrate how we can leverage SCOM to provide insights of the current agent state and track the agent migration status by utilizing the SCOM Management MP. First, I will start by demonstrating how we can use the SCOM agent view of the SCOM Management MP to find out MMA agents that are currently multi-home to Azure Monitor and my SCOM management group. I will now switch to my lab environment to do this demonstration. I've already imported the SCOM Management MP into my SCOM demo environment. We will go straight to the SCOM agents view. We have 3 agents listed in the SCOM agents view. As seen here, from the Log Analytics Workspace property populated with Log Analytics Workspace ID information, 2 of the agents are currently multi-home to Azure Monitor and to my SCOM environment. Next, from the SCOM agent view, we look at what versions are the SCOM agents running in. Let's observe the agent version column of the SCOM agents view. 2 of the agents mentioned earlier on that are connected to Azure Log Analytics are running in the latest direct agent version, which is the March 2022 version. 1 agent is running in the SCOM 2022 URL1 version. And finally, I would like to demonstrate how we can extend the SCOM agent view to help us detect AMA extensions running in your monitored VMs. As an example, here's the code snippet that I added in the agent discovery of my modified copy of the SCOM Management MP, which is unsealed. And this helps me find the AMA ext health monitor.exe process, which is an indicator that the AMA extension has been installed on the monitored virtual machine, and whether there's agent coexistence between AMA and an existing MMA agent, still reporting to one or many Azure Log Analytics workspaces. Switching back to my lab environment, I will import the SCOM Management MP with the updated agent discovery. For demo purposes, I've also changed the frequency for the discovery to every 5 minutes. So, after a few minutes, on the SCOM agents view, we can see that the Log Analytics Workspace property of all the agents listed have additional information on whether the AMA extension was found or not, and whether there is agent coexistence. as shown in this example. Let's retrieve this information with PowerShell utilizing SCOM PowerShell commandlets. Here is a simple PowerShell script to list agents currently multi-home to Azure Monitor and SCOM. We target the SCOM management MP first on row number 8 and return all instances of the SCOM agent management class on row number 10 and 12. Then, for each agent on row number 14, find out whether its log analytics workspace property has a string value longer than 10 characters. If so, that will indicate that there is at least a string value with 36 characters of workspace ID, and information about the agent including its version is returned. Running the script. So, the results reflect what we see from the SCOM agents view in the operations console. This is a good way of programmatically exporting out the information for environments with a large population of agents without having to experience the delays from the SCOM operations console UI. Now, going back to the SCOM operations console to the SCOM agents view, let's try deleting a workspace ID from an agent. Then remove the agent and reinstall with a SCOM 2022 agent aligning with the SCOM version of this management group. So the task that I'm going to use is the log analytics workspace remove task. And I'm going to copy the workspace ID from here, log analytics workspace remove, override, paste in the workspace ID, and then use predefined run as account, run it. Okay. Success. Let's wait for a few minutes to see if the log analytics workspace's property of this agent is updated and the workspace ID is removed. As seen here, the workspace ID is removed successfully. Now, let's try to uninstall this direct agent, and we will reinstall with a SCOM 2022 agent. And now the agent is removed. We will reinstall the agent. Success. So now let's wait for the discovery to complete. Now, as seen from the SCOM agent's view, this agent is in the SCOM 2022 version without being multi-home to any workspaces. If the AMA extension is added, it will show up in this column as well. This concludes the demo section on utilizing the SCOM agent view of the SCOM management MP to provide insights of the current agent state and track the agent migration status in a hybrid environment. Here are the key takeaways, or you can say call to action for this session. Be proactive. Understand the potential impacts of the AMA migration to your SCOM environment in your organization to avoid future issues, administrative overhead, and potential loss of monitoring or security detection coverage. If you haven't done it already, please install the SCOM Management MP, as it provides insights of the current agent state and can help track the AMA migration status in your hybrid environment. Communicate with teams involved and critical stakeholders and share the insights from SCOM, which include the list of agents impacted by the AMA migration. Communicate and let the stakeholders know how SCOM can help in providing valuable insights and helpful monitoring coverage throughout the AMA migration process. In summary, different agents are currently being used by Azure Monitoring and Security Services, and the Azure Monitor agent will replace all the Azure Monitor legacy monitoring agents as a single agent that serves all data collection needs across supported servers and client devices. SCOM can play an important role in contributing to the success of each step in the MMA to AMA migration journey. SCOM can also help in monitoring the health of agents used by Azure Monitoring and Security Services post-migration. Thank you for the time and the support of everyone involved, and I will see you over at the Meet the Speaker Cafe to chat with you and to take further questions. Enjoy the rest of the session in this awesome virtual event. Thank you. Bye, everyone.